Okay, everyone, first, before I go any further with this video, I'd like to, give you the title of this video that you're about to see. It is called, Stopping the Violence on Our Own in the Black Community. Now, before I go any further, I would just like to tell y'all that there will be a soul liberation celebration on December 7th on the YouTube channel of Reality Temples on Earth, which is hosted by Brother Angel Snup Snup 7, aka Talik Ibn Rad. So tune in on December the 7th to watch that brother's to watch a celebration on that channel of Soul Liberation Day. And also in the near future, I would be providing you with the exact time to go on that channel to watch that. Matter of fact, you may want to tune in on that channel, because there is information directly on that channel that will give you the time exactly when to tune in to that live hangout for Soul Liberation Day on December the 7th of this year, 2019. And I will be there myself, and so will others that's on the platform of Reality Temple Ministries, aka Operation Exodus Mississippi. And so I just want to leave you with that. Before I further go on with this video, I would like to do, however, a quick rundown on, this message about stopping the violence in the black community, which we don't hear too much from our mainstream so-called black leaders in this country. You don't even hear L. Sharpton pushing that message like he used to. Far as stopping the violence, it's all about money with him, and the same thing, of course, with Jesse Jackson and even Louis Farrakhan and others like them. You don't see them, out there in the streets of Chicago or Detroit or New York City, or Atlanta, trying to get our people to stop killing each other. It's more so about them, being opportunity seekers to profit off of our people's suffering, and fortunately, many of our people are waking up to that reality. But the real reality as well is that we can't depend on no one to save us. We have to save ourselves. And of course, as I've spoken of in numerous videos, and from this same platform that Brother Angel Snup Snup 7 speaks from, of Reality Temple Ministries as well, is that ain't no God or no spaceship gonna come out the clear blue sky to save you either. We gotta save ourselves as a people, brothers and sisters. I mean, it's just that simple, and I don't know how else more to keep repeating that, but we got to save ourselves. We see the system is not going to do it because they, when it come to black on black violence in America, that's a cash cow for them. That's what keeps, the police, with being able to maintain jobs. That's what keeps judges and lawyers and prosecutors being able to maintain employment in the so-called criminal justice system of this country, long as we killing each other. So In other words, that mean with that said, they don't give a damn how many of us kill each other. I had just been watching a few videos before I decided to make this one myself. You know, looking at what's going on back in my hometown of Detroit, Michigan. And I'm talking about the most current up-to-date stuff that's been taking place there as far as violence that's continuously going on in that city, like it's been going on for years and decades before and from the time I was born and on up to now and further. I mean, it's like, you got certain entities that's trying to be creative. Like this one video where you had young brothers in the streets running around shooting, paintball guns at each other and using that as a way to help stop the violence in Detroit. So now the Detroit police decided that they want, which they did, to crack down on them because their excuse was if they see a weapon like that, that would be considered as a real weapon and that would justify them of using deadly force in response. And all these young brothers is doing is, coming up with a creative way, among other certain creative ways, to help stop violence among our people. But of course, that just once again show that so-called law enforcement don't give a damn about black people killing black people. That's just another way to help keep the violence perpetuated in the black community, So, I mean, it's like when I'm seeing all this stuff going on, and here it is, and you got another group there, that just got started, an organization. I forget what they call themselves, but they're trying to massively start an organization to help stop the violence there. And then you got a young sister that's trying to lead the charge or whatever in her own way of helping to, put an end to the senseless violence there in Detroit, So, I mean, it's like, it's like Detroit puts on this image like they trying to do something with the city by beautifying downtown just so some suburban white folks could be able to feel safe coming down there to watch a baseball or basketball or a Detroit Red Wing hockey game or something or whatever, or where they could feel comfortable with walking their dogs around and not worrying about being robbed or whatever and this and that. But yet, you got the rest of the wider city of Detroit, of course, which is the ghetto, no matter what side of town it is, majority, that's suffering like heck. And you got different people that's trying to come up with innovative ideals to make situations there better. Which ain't easy, of course. But you got these forces once again, like the slave catchers, which is known as the police, which they started out as, during the time of slavery in this country. And they are, helping to perpetuate the violence, by stopping certain things from taking place that will actually curve violence to the side in black communities in Detroit. And I'm pretty sure this same method is being used by the so-called powers that be in other cities across America, where there's massive ongoing violence going on among so-called people of color, especially those of us that are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America. And I mean, it's like it gets to the point where, you know, this is the reason why me and brother Angel Snup Snup 7 came up with the ideal of the Operation Exodus Mississippi campaign in the first place last year back in 2018. Because we saw that the only way that would cause a ending, or at least something that would derail the issue of black on black violence, or derail black homelessness, job discrimination, discrimination in housing, police brutality, racist racial profiling, racist gerrymandering, and all that, was to get a state such as Mississippi behind us by taking control of this state, and then being successful with that project and taking control of a state like Alabama and Georgia and so forth on, where we have states behind us, where we will be quarantined away from the rest of this hectic society that will protect us as a group of people from such hostility, and which would help perpetuate us to be able to finally stop killing each other on a big wide scale basis, as we still are doing, But yet, that fell on many deaf ears. Some listened, and of course many others who listened rejected it. There's a few who didn't, but it's many of them who rejected it. And even some that we had on the platform with us, of course, that rejected it, and that ain't around. Even one who took the initiative, or had the audacity to take the initiative, to reestablish his own brand of the Mississippi campaign, which didn't last too long, obviously, and which he is no longer talking about on his platform. See? So, at the end of the day, if we don't do something that's going to have a concrete, factual effect to end in our dilemma as black people in this country, then things is just going to keep remaining just like it is. And looking at this situation, this ongoing concurrent situation back in my hometown, and it ain't like I don't check out the violence, of course, that goes on in other cities throughout America, because I do. Matter of fact, I kind of have a knack of keeping up with what's going on throughout the rest of the country, more so than in my own city, where I come from originally. But I know enough about Detroit, of course, that I don't need to just go back every day and check on the news and see what's going on, because I know what's been going on. I was born and partially raised there, so I know what's been going on there all along. And ain't too much change, especially because of the corrupt and racist politics of that city. you know, and of course of that state, which that city is in, which is Michigan. And I mean, I, you know, and knowing from what we've saw with Flint, Michigan, with the water crisis going on there, and that's still going on there, we know that Michigan is definitely one of the most racist states in the country. I don't care how much many people claim it to be a liberal state and all that. It is one of the most racist states in America. The nation saw that during the 1967 Detroit riots. The world saw that, during the riot that took place a few years back in Benton Harbor, Michigan. You know, um, and so, like I said before, I mean, all that, when you conjure all that together, that does play a part in the effect of what's going on with, black Michiganians and in Detroit itself as well. And, but at the same time, I'm not in Michigan, but I'm still speaking from experience and what I know, and also which, of course, led to the reason that I left, which many others also left. Well, which was considered as the big flight, of course, especially during the period of time like around the late early 2000s when the car industry collapsed in Michigan, in Detroit, and as well as throughout the rest of the parts of Michigan, which was affected by it. And I mean, it caused a big flight. And I am, as a result, one of those that was a part of that big flight. And when I watch these videos of what's going on in Detroit, they're talking to the locals, they're interviewing them and stuff and giving them, all kind of attention. And that's all well and good and dandy. Because, I mean, they need all the help they can get there. It's people that they're suffering. And especially, like I say, with violence being at the top of the list of that scenario. But however, you don't find too many media outlets or even on social media as far as social media outlets that talk to people like myself that left Detroit. They don't even offer to get in contact with us or to try to even reach out to us in any kind of way, to talk to us and find out why we left. Of course, which many know, but they don't get our personal encountering experiences on why we left and why many of us still to this day choose not to go back. But however, there are still other descendants of slaves there, which some happen to be relatives, whether I particularly care for them or not, but they still are relatives, and they are descendants of slaves born in America, and they're still there, and they are still within that, caught up in that trench, even whether they realize it or not, and it's a bad thing, You know, I mean, I'm hearing where the so-called criminal justice system is trying to, alleviate crime there, but still, like I seen a data statistic on a video which showed last year in 2018 where it was 40-some thousand crimes being reported to the 911 dispatcher in Detroit. I mean, so, and I mean, of course, Detroit is, as far as I know, 700 some thousand people, or lesser than that, if not lesser than that. But I mean, you got 44,000 something crimes being reported, and this is in most recent times. And I mean, come on, really? How much has really changed there? You know, I mean, yeah, when I was still there, before I left from there a few years ago, the truth that some of them people was telling in the videos about how it took 4 hours, 2 hours, or an hour for the police to get there after they done dialed a 911 dispatcher because some one of their loved ones or friends got shot or killed or something, and it took the police that long to get there. And by that time, the crime suspect had done whatever they done and was gone. Scot free. I mean, So I mean, this is true. I was there. I was a part of that. I saw that going on. Yes, that's true, what they were saying. And I will be the very first one, without choice to confirm that fact, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not good. And it still ain't looking good. Like I said, I've been away from there for some time now, over several years, and it still ain't looking good. Not at least as far as the majority, which is the black community that's in that city, which is the leading population of all other ethnicities in that city, But like I said before, I mean, it's really it really hurt me to see in most recent videos, even that's been posted this year, from most recent stuff that's still going on there that's connected with nothing but us as people of soul killing each other. Senselessly. I just saw where they was looking for a young 20-some-year-old soul brother because he had pulled a gun out on his girlfriend and they 6-month-old daughter. Pointed it straight at her and they own a 6-month-old daughter. I mean, how much more vicious can that get beside him doing the next worst thing, which is pulling the trigger, which he didn't do in that situation, fortunately. But, I mean, we bring these babies in the world, especially upon after we get into an argument with a spouse who helped brought these children in the world, we ready to kill them. Well, why did you even bother laying up in the bed having them if you felt that way about them, see? And this is not the only case that same thing is happening amongst those in the black community. That's going on all over the United States, even in other ethnicity communities, but definitely since I'm speaking on my own kind, it's going on a lot in the black community, and it needs to that needs to come to a cease. And that's one thing that hurts me, because I came up under some circumstances as a child that I don't care to really go into, that I felt like, hey, somebody would have been better off by leaving me alone before they even thought about conceiving me. And that's that's just the real reality of the situation, because we are already born as dark-skinned people into a racist, hostile society, which is bad enough. And then we got to come and deal with all that. Child abuse, other different type of violence, especially when it comes to us hurting and killing each other. What's the point? And this is why I don't have no children myself. This is why I'm glad that I don't have no children. Because why bring them in a sick situation like this, which ain't getting no better anyway, So, at the end of the day, when I look at this whole situation for what it is, and I see, that we're at a point where, we need to really consider taking our own destiny by getting a state and taking control of it, where we'll have a state to back us up. In other words, as well as where we'll have a place to guard and protect ourselves from the rest of this hostile so-called civilization we live under called America. Then we can move more forwardly and not having to go through changes with struggling just to not commit violence among ourselves, where we won't have forces like the police or the government in our way trying to stop us from at least killing each other, if not anything else. Come on. We will have more outlets and resources as well by having the state behind us, which is something big, And as many black people that's in Michigan, I would love to switch the ideal, change it from the Mississippi campaign to the Michigan campaign. But because Mississippi has more black people, of course, there than even in Michigan, which happens to have a lot of descendants of Mississippians who migrated to that state in the early 20th century to avoid, racial Jim Crow in the early years of the South. I just have to say that, at the end of the day, period, we got to do something. But I still say personally that the Mississippi campaign is still on the table. If we really want to get serious with changing our reality in this country as a people and where we find ourselves at, whether it be economically, domestically, and so forth on. Because we are in a serious situation, but with this violence, which was my particular topic in this video, with the violence going on, it's bad. and I don't know how to really say enough, because I got, grand relatives, far as I know, that still live in the Detroit area. Couple that's just came into this world in recent short time periods, that I haven't even met, since I've been away from Detroit. I mean, and I think about them when it comes to that. I think about if they're going to be the next statistic, whether it's getting shot by some racist cop or whether it's getting shot by a cop, period, whether it's ending up getting shot by another dark-skinned person, especially over something trivial, which usually is the case when it comes to black people killing each other, of course, in this country. And I mean, it's like, I think about that. Because, I mean, this is the type of reality we living in because we don't want to find a way to come together, to unite, to change this reality, you see. And so this is what's going on. And I'm at the point right now where I really want to just take a sabbatical, even to the point of just throwing my hands up and saying, the hell with it. Let them destroy each other. That's what the enemy want anyway. Let them destroy each other. Long as don't none of them come my way. Let them just destroy each other. I mean, I even have gotten to the point to an extent, some of us is better off being dead. Because we ain't nothing but what they call dead weight standing in the way. We ain't nothing but a nuisance that's standing in the way. So hey, it don't scrape no skin off my back no more than than it wouldn't anybody else that don't care, But I really do care, about the plight of our people in this country. But of course, as a former activist in the so-called pro-black conscious community, I saw that the efforts of doing something about our reality wasn't getting nowhere at all. So, fortunately, I was able to emancipate myself from that. And since then, like I said, I've been just sitting back and, as I've been, with the help of our brother Angel Snup Snup 7 of Reality Temple Ministries, come up with another way that will bring a real concrete solution to our problem as a people, which is the Mississippi campaign, like I say, which many of you refuse to want to even consider or try and haven't even tried yet and scared to do that. But you always talk about you want unity. When your actions prove different. See, I don't just care for words. I look at the actions. That's what I pay attention to. And I'm just only one individual. And only one individual could do so much. And I know most of you will say, well, why don't you lead the charge? Well, listen, I'm not, or as someone else would say, I'm not your daddy. You know, you just as grown as me. You know, I'm not in the business of, pampering a baby and taking care of no one like a child. We all grown, and we need to recognize that we have a responsibility to each other as a people if we really want to last longer, in this phase of the game. Because right now, we are on the brink of extinction, or what they call extermination, because we're not taking the right proper steps to turn our situation of reality around. And, this is, like I say, this is what it's come to. And once again, like I say, going back to the situation of, the few videos I've seen, on social media, what's going on back home, it pains me. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I kind of got a little laughter because of the stupidity, but in true essence, it's really not funny. It's sad. To see my people suffering the way that they're suffering, especially in a place like Detroit, especially in a similar type of situation like what's going on in Chicago, killing each other just because. Destroying, and in that process, destroying lives, families, throwing our lives away to the system, if not the graveyard. I mean, over something stupid. And I heard one brother, who was a part of that movement as far as shooting gun, paint guns. I have to say he made one mistake when he said that the violence that's going on in the black community in Detroit is all because of the circumstances. And a lot of leaders, even in the pro-black conscious community, use that analogy a lot. First of all, like someone would say, and I will repeat it in my own words, it's like this. We not in a position where people are forcing us to pick up crack, or pick up the liquor bottle, or pick up the heroin needle, or to even pick up the meth for those of us in the black community that abuse meth, and other drugs. And I mean, it's like, no one is putting a gun to our head saying to pick up that 357 or that AK-47 to go blow another brother or sister's head away. We chose upon our own selves to make that decision to do the stuff that we do. A lot of that stuff is our own choice or matter without conditions. We freely volunteered to take the choice by making the decisions to cause violence, toward one another. So I don't buy that. Me, myself, I don't buy that. You know, I remember it was a time when I got shot at by people that look like me. You know, then nobody put a gun up to their head to force them to shoot at me. Then nobody put a gun to my head to force me to commit crimes against other people, especially other people of color that look like me. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, that's just a mere poor excuse, especially when it comes to one taking another life. So I don't, like I said, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. That's a lot of times criminals do stuff once they get the habit of doing it because that's what they want to do. There's another chance or opportunity for us to turn this situation around. We ain't got to keep blaming the system, using the excuse by putting the blame on the white man of the system to keep doing the senseless, crazy stuff that we do to each other. So I will be the first one to confirmly say that. you know. And like I said before, we do a lot of things. I mean, did nobody put no gun to your head and say, I'm gonna kill that nigga because he was looking at my old lady. Or I'm gonna kill that nigga because she was looking at my man. You see what I'm saying? So when them judges get ready to hand that time down on you in court, you gonna tell them the same thing? I mean, come on. This is what it's come down to in the black community, So, I mean, we don't have no excuses. All the fairy tales and lies has been exposed when it comes to the stuff we've depended on to bring us out of the ashes of this hell that we still find ourselves in as a people, such as lies about these gods and religions that ain't never did a damn thing for us and ain't gonna do a damn thing for us, So, like I said, this is why when we come from this platform, it's nothing but strictly reality. And that's just the bottom line to that. And I really get tired of people, constantly, blaming, putting the blame game on other stuff. Yes, the Caucasian is the root, is what started the root of the problem. But at the same time, we cannot keep pointing the finger at the Caucasian while we constantly taking things by free choice in our own hands to do stupid stuff self-destructively to ourselves and each other, and then turn around and place that as a blame on the Caucasian or something else. And that's just totally no excuse. Yes, so like I said before, I don't, that when I heard that brother say that, I said, well, here we go again, Or we need jobs, and this is why we selling dope because we ain't got jobs. This is why we killing each other, especially over colors, over wearing our hats the wrong way, or because somebody was in our hood, or because somebody was in the wrong hood where they wasn't supposed to be, because we ain't got no jobs. I mean, this, are you serious? So now, You finna give up the rest of your life to these crackers in the penitentiary, or if not, end up in the graveyard first, just based on that lame, petty excuse? This is the average mentality of the so-called black man in America. So I mean, at the same time, um, when I see and hear this type of stuff, you know, it just really it appalls me. I mean, really, and me being a brother in my 50s, and I see other brothers my age who sit back and look at our younger brothers and don't help step in their own way or whatever, or don't contribute in their own way or whatever to try to educate our younger brothers and sisters, you know, to the fact that it could be a better way of looking at the situation than the way that they're looking at the situation, then this is where it's going to continue with our youth and other younger generations killing each other. And I mean, it's like, it's, hey, this is why I'm getting away more and more from being judgmental of the younger generation, because we're no better. I just want to put that out there, first of all. Especially us in our 50s, on up into our 60s, and even to our 70s. We still got soul brothers and sisters in their 70s and even 80s. Still trying to be pimps and players and even gangsters. Throwing up Crip and Blood gang signs, throwing up Vice Lord and Gangster Disciple gang signs. You old enough to be grandparents, great-grandparents, still doing that silly stuff, trying to call yourself a pimp, and all this other stuff. So we ain't nowhere in a position to talk about it or to hand judgment down on the younger generation. It's still many of us, especially in my age or older, that's still sitting in a penitentiary, being warehoused for the rest of their lives. Over half ain't gonna never see a day of light because of stupid choices and mistakes they made. So we ain't in no position to talk about our younger generations. They just a carbon copy of our stupidity. That's all they doing, which is a carbon copy of the stupidity that we passed down, that was passed down to us and that we passed down to them. You see, so like I said before, we're all in the same boat when it comes to being slaves. We're no better than the next slave. Just like our ancestors wasn't better than the next slave on the cotton and sugar cane plantation. The same still evolves in this generation today among us as their descendants. So, like I said before, what we need to do, instead of talking down on our people, whether they young or old, we need to come together with a solution, which starting with something big, like getting a state behind us. So like someone said, when our brothers and sisters get in trouble in some other part of the United States, they'll be able to run to Mississippi where they have protection. And then we can negotiate whether we send them back to New York or California, St. Louis somewhere to be prosecuted. And we just won't be, they just won't be freely given over. It'll have to be some negotiation. They'll have to deal with the state of Mississippi first before that just happens. And this is where we got to put ourselves in the position of, if we truly want to be a free people, because we're not a free people, especially like we think we are, you know? And every time we got to worry about being profiled or even having the police called on us because we're black. I mean, that type of crazy stuff too, you know? And I mean, this is what we're dealing with because we ain't got no protection around us as a people. I mean, if we get a state behind us, that would be something to help us to be able to more effectively address situations like that. And even, of course, with the black on black violence situation that I've been talking about in this video, So, like I said before, if we don't want to ultimately do something which would, bring a more complete solution, a real, effective, true solution to our situation, like with this ideal of the Mississippi campaign, then yes, we can go on and prepare ourselves for these FEMA camps and mass graves that these, racist crackers got waiting for us. And it's just that simple. Whether we want to, accept it or not. That is our reality that's facing us. The Jews of Nazi Germany thought the same way. Oh, we ain't got to worry about nothing. Everything gonna be all good. And when them Nazis came knocking at their door, that whole myth vanished quickly. And that's what can happen to us as, descendants of slaves born here in America, which I refer to as the people of soul, or dark-skinned people of soul, At any right given time or opportunity in this country, especially with the way, the crisis situation is going on in America. Well, it's, of course, with the crazy politics of this country, and stuff like that. So like I said before, we can keep playing games with ourselves and with our future generations all we want to, but we gonna keep getting the same thing. But I just wanted to speak on this because, like I said, I I really hate to tell you, but this is the reality that we are in, and it's not getting no better. It's getting worse and worse every day for us, especially for us to keep knowing that we find ourselves at the bottom of everybody else in America when it comes to us as being a group of people. And it's not looking good, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I keep up with certain things when it comes to sports, basketball, boxing, but in the reality scheme of things, actually, I could care less. You know, who's the baddest fighter, the baddest boxer on the planet Earth, the baddest basketball player on the planet Earth. At the end of the day, that's not changing our situation. You know, those like Floyd Mayweather, LeBron James, you know, they got the resources to help us make this happen. And if we could get together, you know, and get a state like Mississippi behind us, watch them be more than willing to share their resources to help us and our plight, to turn our situation around as black people in this country for once and for all. Those kind of people, like the ones I mentioned by name, will be willing to wholeheartedly use their resources to help us and our cause. If we just get a state behind us. Because without a state behind us, which is something big, that's going to really kick this thing off, you know, you'll start seeing black people in this country seeing the reality like we never witnessed before in our over 400-year existence as a people in this country. You know, starting our own business, getting a job, having education, just ain't gonna do it alone. That little small tiddly bit stuff, it ain't been doing the job completely, and it ain't gonna never do the job completely. It's gonna have to take us to do something like getting the state behind us to back us. You know, where we have the National Guard behind us. You know, where we have the head political establishment behind us. You know, ain't nothing greater than that. And once we could work from there, like I said, and be successful with that project in one place, then we could carry that on to Alabama, Georgia, and so forth on. Where we'll have other multiple states behind us. Then you'll talk about a change, not only for black people in America, but a great example that the rest of humanity throughout the world could move off on, to making a better world for the whole of humanity. You know, I'm talking about a reality where our generations to come after us won't know what it is to be a nigger, won't know what it is to be a slave, won't know what it is to be a jailhouse or prison number statistic, or a violent dead statistic, you know, or a statistic at the hands of police brutality or racist police brutality. They won't know nothing about that. Because they will be in an environment that will protect them from that, you know, as children. Where then, as they grow, it'll be able to protect their children. An environment where their children could be protected and their children could be protected. See, that's when you're talking about building a true everlasting legacy. Economics alone ain't gonna do that. I just have to put the truth out about that. We got to have something, like I said, like a state behind us. And it's just that simple. We can't do that. Keep looking for worse to happen, because that's our reality right now as a people, you know. And like I said before, with that said, I just wanted to get that out there, because I need to move on with the rest of my night. But I just, want to get that to y'all far as for food for thought, so y'all can marinate on that, especially those of you throughout the whole of Black social media land. And, like I said, on December 7th, go on the Reality Temple channel, the Reality Temple on Earth channel, to tune in with us and our brother, who will be the main co-host, Angel Snup Snup 7, and help us celebrate Soul Liberation Day on that day. And with that said, I'm Audi 5000, as somebody would say, and peace.